Hi there, Miranda Alt here with Keller Williams Success Real Estate, the Miranda Alt team with your Monday market update for Monday, July 3rd, 2023. Happy 4th of July week. Always when we have a holiday week, it kind of messes with our real estate market and always kind of throws off some of our numbers. So we are going to have a little bit of wonky numbers next week due to the holiday. So we'll likely have lower closed sales. We'll likely have less homes go under contract and a couple other things that are not typical due to the holiday. Now looking at our numbers from last week, they're pretty interesting. We saw some big increases in our closed sales, and we'll just take a quick look at those right now. From last week, the last 7 days in McHenry County, we had 118 new listings. We had 140 go under contract. So that's a big discrepancy between our newly listed properties and those under contract. We had 145 closed sales. That's a pretty good number given how low we've been this year with closed sales. It's good to see a higher number last week. We had 3 expireds. We had 33 price changes and currently have 65 on the private network. What we're not seeing is a lot of those price changes happening on regular sale homes. We're seeing most of the price reductions are on distressed sales or on homes that are probably overpriced to begin with, or the new builds. Some of the new build homes have been reducing their price just to get rid of their last bit of inventory. Most builders that I know of, they're pretty well sold out. And so maybe they're reducing prices just to get things sold so that they can be done and move on to their next project. Some interesting things, we have seen building permits come up slightly, so that's a good thing. We need more inventory. This has been a broken record. We need more inventory. And one of the things that we're hoping is going to happen is those new builds. So we do have new building permits that have been pulled. We've been under building for so many years. You know, after the 2008 crash, we really have not seen builders building to the capacity to meet the demand. We've had very low inventory for a number of years. I know I got my license in 2016, and we've been in a seller's market pretty much since then. We've been in, and a seller's market means under 4 months of inventory. We measure our inventory and how many months it'll take to sell out of whatever is currently listed. 1 to 4 months inventory is a seller's market. 4 to 6 months is a fair and balanced market, and anything over 7 months or more is buyer's market. I know since I've been a realtor, we have not had a buyer's market. The reason being is we have very low inventory. We have not had enough homes to meet the demand. We're still seeing multiple offers and highest and best called on many, many properties. I listed a property this last week on Thursday, and we had 29 offers to review. We called for highest and best by last night at midnight, and we had to go through 29 offers, many of them cash. Right now, we're seeing about a quarter of the market is paying in cash. So some of the reasons why interest rates just are not mattering, interest rates are just not as important. They matter less today than they have historically. And the reason being that, number one, we have a lot of people paying cash. Number two, a lot of people are sitting on, most Americans have a lot of equity in their homes. And so they are not as concerned about their mortgage rate. Now, that being said, we do have some people feeling like they're in gold handcuffs, where they have a great interest rate, they're living in their home, and their home is fine. Maybe they would like that nicer kitchen. Maybe they'd like an extra 1,000 square feet of living space. Maybe they'd like a full finished basement or something like that. And that would, in a normal market, incentivize them to move. But because they are locked in at a 2% rate or 3% rate, we know over 70% of Americans currently have lower than a 4% interest rate. So they're feeling a little bit like they're locked in golden handcuffs, that they don't really want to leave that rate. So that does affect our inventory. That is affecting our market. We know that most of the homes that are listed on the market are not owner occupied. So we have a lot of new builds on the market. We have a lot of homes that were maybe a second home and people are trying to downsize or things like that. But we're not having a lot of those not having as many traditional sales as we need. We need more people to list their homes in order to get more inventory. Now, side note on that actually is a zero inventory influencer. When someone lives in a home and they list their home to sell another home or to buy another home, that doesn't affect our inventory really, because they're selling a house, so they're creating inventory while they're absorbing inventory. So the biggest factor that we have is first-time home buyers. So we have a lot of first-time home buyers because remember, we have that millennial generation turning 30. And we have the largest population of the millennial generation turning 30 in the last few years and the next coming years. Between 1989 and 1992, we had the largest birth rate of the millennial generation. So therefore, we have a lot of people in that age group where they're buying their first home. So that is taking up our inventory when we have a new household formation. Household formation is when Billy lives in his basement and in his parents' basement, and he decides that he wants to go off and get his first house. That is a household formation. And we have more household formations right now absorbing that inventory. Or another absorption or another household creation would be if somebody is buying a second home. So if I currently have this home, I'm gonna buy, downsize, I'm gonna sell this home and get a smaller home, and then I'm also going to buy a home in Florida or something like that. That would be another household formation, because I'm going from having one home to having two homes. So that's what we consider a household formation. We're having more of those than we have new homes being built, and that's why we have such a low inventory problem. Our aging population is also not selling their homes like they used to. A lot of people, once they turn 65 or whatever, they would sell their home, move to Florida or whatever they would do. Well, Florida has become so incredibly expensive that a lot of people can't afford to do that, or they want to downsize, but they're afraid that they're not going to be able to find something that's going to suit their needs in order to really motivate them to downsize. So they're kind of staying in their house longer than we would have anticipated. So lower inventory is kind of creating this never-ending cycle where we have low inventory, so people don't want to move, so then we continue to have low inventory, and it's just this cycle that we got to break out of. And the only way we're going to do that is with new builds. So we do have more new housing starts that have permits that have been submitted, so hopefully we will get some new inventory in the next coming years. But for right now, we have low inventory, and that is not going to go anywhere, and that is causing prices to go up, and prices are way up, and they will continue to go up through the end of the year. Yes, mortgage rates are in the low sevens, but the interest rate is not what's keeping people from buying. We still have very high buyer demand. People move because they are motivated by a life change, not by interest rates. That's not why people move. So we do still have a lot of people that want to move, a lot of motivated buyers. Like I said, I had one listing this last week, 29 offers. So for one house, I had 29 buyers. We can only pick one buyer for this house. So that is the situation that we're seeing in a lot of the different areas. Another thing to keep in mind, I had a couple people calling me this week asking me if one of the homes that I had listed, if my sellers would be willing to rent that home instead of sell it. And I said, no. First of all, that house is already under contract for over its list price. Second of all, there are going to be very, very few homes that are going to be willing to do that. If anybody has their house listed, they're going to want to sell it and get their money. This is not a market where you're going to be able to get somebody to rent their home instead of sell it. They can get a premium, and through the end of the year, that is only going to get more of the case. So what are those people going to do? Those renters, it's becoming more expensive for people to rent, and there's fewer rentals available, so that's driving the price up. So affordability is becoming a real issue. So you've got some people who can't afford to buy because things are too expensive, so they have to rent. Well, the rent is becoming more expensive as well, and so they have to rent for even longer. So we've got, our lower income population is really being affected by this probably more than anyone else, because it's just making that home ownership that much further out of reach. So, but interest rates are not the driving factor. Oh, another thing that we're seeing a lot of is people doing the buy down, people buying down their rates. The 2-1 buy down is a great product. A lot of people are doing. They're buying their rate down for the first year, 2 points, and then they're buying their rate down for the following year, 1 point. And by then we should have lower interest rates, and you can refinance and then possibly even get some of that money back that you spent on getting the 2-1 buy down. So I'm Miranda Alt with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so tired today. We had our client appreciation party yesterday, and I'm beat. I'm absolutely exhausted. So for those of you that came to the party, thank you so much for coming. Hope you had a great time. I know I had a fabulous time. I know my boys had a fabulous time playing their music. Thank you for watching that. And we'll be posting some pictures from that in the next coming days. Have a wonderful 4th of July. Happy holiday week. And we'll see you next week. Have a great day. Bye.